Life is like a tornado right now for me. Talking about me getting a helicopter, so maybe you have a helicopter rating, a rotor rating would be nice. We delivered the supplies, insulin and all that, right to ground zero up in the mountains.
You've gone through a lot of changes lately. It seems like it's been like a year or two of just constant change for you.
Yeah, life is like a tornado right now for me. I was flying 135 in the Bahamas with Makers Air, the Grand Caravans, and I was doing that for many years. It was a lot of fun getting out there in the Bahamas, flying around in the Grand Caravans. And then I decided to move on from that job to just basically fly Part 91 for a private company.
With the TBM?
Yep, started off with a TBM 700, an A model, serial 113.
Oh, wow.
It was an older one. And then eventually we wanted to upgrade. We found a real nice TBM 850 out of Georgia. Had only one owner, which is something I think is really important when you look at buying a used airplane if it's been sold off many times. I enjoyed flying the TBM 850 around for the private company for many years. We averaged about 150 hours a year is what we would average out. And the owner was an amazing guy. He would let me do social media with the airplane, which is
that's
hard to find.
That's a big ask.
So yeah, unfortunately, they sold the TBM 850 a couple of years ago now.
And just got out of aviation.
Got out of aviation. And now I'm flying around with my friend Isaac. He has got a couple different airplanes. Flying a TBM 940, CJ3 Plus. I'm going to hopefully get typed in that. And he's actually, maybe we're talking about me getting a helicopter, so maybe you have a helicopter rating, a rotor rating would be nice.
So I'll tell you, I just went through my commercial rotor add-on.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah. So I'll tell you this, my first couple lessons in the helicopter, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is so much more fun than a plane, and I love planes.
I always say low and slow, when you're flying for fun, low and slow is where it's at. High and fast is good for when you want to get somewhere, but I like low and slow.
Well, and I actually like fast. Okay, so in my opinion, there's two types of pilots, and the vast majority of the types of pilot, the first type, is those who just love to burn holes in the sky, right? Okay, that's most pilots. The smaller group are those who just like a really cool way to go from A to B.
Yep.
I'm in the second group.
Okay, yeah.
The reason why is because for me, I love landing and I love taking off. I love doing stuff and working that, and going into altitude and just flying for hours, that's not as interesting to me.
You're just sitting there monitoring and making sure.
So the helicopter, you're landing and taking off 100% of the time.
Wow, that's awesome.
So you are constantly busy. As a matter of fact, with the air show going on, as a matter of fact, I was training in Fort Worth at the Helicopter Institute. In December, we had a hot spell. And so the doors are on of the Robinson R22, small thing.
Oh, yeah.
And we did our work for an hour. We're coming in, and sweat is dripping into my eyes and stinging. You do not have a hand or a way to.
No,
you
yeah,
just have to
your hands on each control, yeah.
And so it's a different world in the helicopter, but I'll tell you, I love it.
Yeah, that's amazing. We were able to do a relief flight. We flew the CJ up to North Carolina during with Hurricane Helene.
Oh, right.
And we got in a little Robinson. Is that what they're
like an R-44?
Yeah, R-44. We delivered the supplies, insulin and all that, right to ground zero up in the mountains that were all cut off with Hurricane Helene. So it was really great getting to utilize the helicopter for that mission.
The helicopter is an incredible tool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be excited for you. So I do like high and fast, and I would love to have a TBM. That's just like, that would be the dream.
Yeah, TBM is like right in the middle. It's got a wide envelope. The high and fast, 31,000 feet is the service ceiling, and then you coming in at 85 knots. I landed a 940 the other day on a strip up in North Jersey. It was like 1,980 something feet long, and it got in and out of there easily. You ran the numbers, and it had the performance to do it, and it was a great airplane.
Well, I have a Cessna 210.
Okay.
So, I've got the old school, and a little slower, but a little slower than TBM, and piston on top of that. But we actually came to Sun and Fun at flight level 230, unpressurized.
Nice.
So with the masks.
Yeah.
Anybody's watching. So what's the future look for you? Are you going to look for you want to go back to a caravan in the Bahamas, or live
I mean,
the beach life?
that company is amazing. It's like family to me. The makers there, out of Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport, and I know I'll always have a job offer if I ever do want to go back to that. And it's single pilot out in the Bahamas, navigating the thunderstorms during the summer. It can be challenging, especially a lot of those airstrips out there in the Bahamas. It's just one runway, and if the wind's going across at 30 knots, you got to figure out how to manage a 30-knot crosswind landing. So it really increases your skill level as a pilot, being able to fly that single type operations. So yeah, I mean, maybe someday I would go back out to the Bahamas and rip around the islands. I wouldn't mind it.
What kind of avionics generally did the 700 come with? Do you know?
That had basically the old legacy six-pack. I mean, it had two Garmin 530s. So it was pretty old school stuff in it. I mean, nowadays with the G3000 and the G5000, the avionics is amazing nowadays. Everything it can do with the auto throttle. I mean, basically the newer TBMs with the avionics, it's auto everything. But even though it's auto everything, you got to make sure the airplane's still doing what it's supposed to do. But, I love the new Garmin systems that they're throwing in these airplanes.
Do you have an opinion on, the TBM is getting to the level where an owner pilot type, that's going to be a lot of plane for somebody who can afford that is probably really busy as an executive, right? What are your thoughts on, these owner pilots? Should they be hiring pilots? What are your thoughts?
They really have to self-evaluate their skill level. Okay. Because a lot of the owners that are buying like TBMs and single-engine turboprops are coming out of pistons, coming out of like a Cirrus SR22, and they're stepping it up into the turboprop world. And it's a wide envelope of an airplane to fly. You're getting up in the flight levels. So basically, that's what happened with my old boss. Is he was a pilot for many, many years, and he realized, he's busy with this, running a company, and that's when he hired me as a professional pilot to just be there with him. And he would work the radios at the beginning when I started flying with him, but then eventually he was just like, Steve-O, have fun, and
he went back in the back. And
I'll be in the back, relaxing.
Send the flight attendant back.
So a lot of owner operators, they should really just look at their skill level and know what they're comfortable with,
be honest.
Yeah, and be honest with themselves.
Earlier you mentioned low and slow. What's your flavor of choice in aircraft?
I was able to fly my first tailwheel experience in a Carbon Cub.
Okay, that'll spoil you.
And I was at Orcas Island in the San Juan Islands.
That'll double spoil you.
Out of northwest of Seattle there. It was amazing. And my very first time I had an instructor on board. It was gusting in the 30s. So yeah, when you're flying light aircraft like that, when it's gusting in the 30s, you're actually flying that thing even to the parking spot. I've realized with the control inputs. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to fly it all the way to the parking spot. I mean, you learn when we got our privates, they're always saying, turn the yoke into the wind while you're taxiing and all this kind of stuff. And by the time I'm in a 210, you're in a TBM.
It's not as critical to have to do that as
unless
much.
You've got 50-mile-an-hour gusts.
Yeah.
So, but now back with tailwheel, it is a big deal. And I've been able. I haven't yet gotten my tailwheel endorsement. I've gotten close, and then I get busy. But have you gotten your tailwheel?
I haven't. I would like to do that along with a float plane rating. I think that'd be awesome.
I thought about that too.
Fly something on floats.
But I went and got my rotor.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I highly encourage you. The rotor is an amazing thing.
There's so many different aspects of aviation, of the different ways to enjoy it, and it's so exciting to be able to get different add-ons like that.
Well, Steve, I'm glad we could finally connect.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
We've come close to having you on the show a bunch of times. So the future, where are you going to go? What are you going to do?
Just going to enjoy aviation, hopefully maybe find another Part 91 job somewhere to make some money and enjoy flying around.
All right. If you guys haven't checked out Steve-O's channel on YouTube, I'll have a link for it. We'll have a lower third here, and we'll have a link in the description. Got a lot of noise behind us with the air show. I'd like to thank Flying Eyes at flyingeyesoptics.com. Use our discount code, taking off all caps, one word for 10% off. 67 Designs makes the best mount, 67D.com. ClemensInsurance.net, MPSProtects.com, ZVision, XEVision.com. We love our sponsors. Please check them out in the description below. We'll see you later. Thanks.
Thanks.